Let's decorate for fall. Hi, welcome to another video. Today we're going to do two projects, this gorgeous pumpkin arrangement as well as the succulent pumpkins. If it's the first time you're stopping by my channel, welcome. My name is Katherine Bergman. I'm a florist with over 30 years experience designing weddings and events, sharing all sorts of floral projects each week with you. So are you ready? Let's get started. So I found this fun fairy tale pumpkin at Trader Joe's the other day, and I thought, what a fun thing to use this flat kind of misshapen pumpkin for an arrangement. And we're just going to decorate the top of the pumpkin and not do an arrangement in the pumpkin. So what I have here is one of the Oasis cage foam. They come in different sizes. This is a larger one. This is a smaller one. It's a larger one. I soaked it in water so the foam is wet, and all I did was glue it to the top of the pumpkin with hot glue. Now, obviously, this doesn't have a water source other than what's in the foam itself, so it's not going to last very long. But definitely something you can do for your Thanksgiving centerpiece or some party you're going to throw for Halloween. So it definitely is for an occasion, not for, having your house for days and days and days. And I have an assortment of beautiful fall flowers that I bought from Trader Joe's. And it was just a mixed bouquet for $15, and I added a bunch of these beautiful orange gerberas. So we're not using very expensive flowers, and I cut some beautiful snowball viburnum foliage that's starting to turn in my garden to use on this pumpkin, as well as some rose hips. So it's not a lot of surface to design, but I'm thinking this is kind of fun to decorate just the top of the pumpkin, kind of have it cascade down the pumpkin and still see most of the pumpkin. All right, so let's get started with greening in. So we're not going to green in very much because we don't have much surface to work with. Every stem you put in takes up space on the foam, and we want to do a nice arrangement on here, so I'm not going to really green in a lot. What I am going to do is use the viburnum to set sort of a cascading line on the pumpkin. I'm imagining something very naturalistic. We've got, elements of like this cascading down as well as viburnum like this. So I'm just going to kind of use the natural flow of the viburnum and let it cascade down the pumpkin. I like things that look very natural, and I love the lines of the viburnum. This is one of my favorite fall foliage to use because of the beautiful lines, and I especially like that you can see some green with the fall colors, so adds a vibrancy. I often find fall arrangements to be too much yellow, orange, burgundy, and brown, and a pop of that fresh green really makes everything, all the other colors, more vibrant and pop more. So I'm always looking for fall foliage that has a little bit of green in it, and the green with the red, like sugar maple is another great one that I like to use. So I'm using the viburnum on this side, sort of a more dramatic cascade, but continuing to use a little on this side as well, so that you have some continuity in the arrangement. Okay, so I've got that in, and then I have some sort of burgundy protea, red roses. I'm going to show you what came in this bouquet, and cedar eucalyptus, burgundy little button mums, and this pincushion protea. Love the pincushion protea. We only got one in our bunch, so I'm going to go ahead and just place that first, kind of be a bit of a focal point for our arrangement. We're not going to go very tall on this arrangement because I want it to just sort of be flower on top and kind of cascading. In fact, I might go a little lower with the protea. Okay, let's use a rose here. See, I'm cutting the stems really short. Very beautiful red rose. I think this is a freedom rose. That's what we have right here. I'm going to add a gerbera over on this side. Okay. We got 3 roses in our $15 bouquet. Sometimes, you know, I'll just take a look at what they have in a mixed bouquet, and if they have a lot of different elements that I think I can use, I'll buy it so that, you know, especially when we're not doing a very large arrangement and I want a lot of different textures and other things of interest, the mixed bouquets can work if they have nice things in them. A few button mums. I like these burgundy button mums. I'm not a big mum person, but I think these are nice little filler accents. We have 1 more rose, so that's what we have so far. Let's do another rose maybe on this side. Now, there are a lot of different pumpkins out there. This is what they call a fairy tale pumpkin. So it looks like, you know, something you see in fairy tale. Kind of misshapen and, you know, kind of ugly, but beautiful in an ugly way. I kind of like it because I like how it's kind of got all these markings on it. It's kind of rustic. I don't want like a glossy, shiny pumpkin for this arrangement. So it works for us. Okay, add another Gerber over here. I'm just keep turning it so you can see our progress. Unfortunately, I can't design without seeing, so I'll just keep turning it. Okay. Do you decorate for Halloween? I don't do a lot of Halloween decor. I mean, I'll put out pumpkins and things, and that's about it, because we don't get hardly any trick-or-treaters. We'll be lucky if we get, you know, 3 groups of kids. So it's not really a thing for us. I'm going to put the rose hip on here. See how I'm letting it kind of cascade and be sort of wild and free. I have a little mini climbing rose that puts out these beautiful hips. There's tons of them. It's just high up on a structure. So I was too lazy to get a ladder out to cut the ones on top. I just kind of cut some that I could reach this morning. Okay, so we've got our rose hips over here. You see how it's just kind of crazy, and you know, I'm just letting it flow. Okay, what else do we have here? We have a couple more stems of the protea. We have a lot of seeded eucalyptus and regular silver dollar eucalyptus. I like these. We want to make sure we cover the cage so that the transition between the pumpkin and the cage is very smooth. Don't want to see it kind of sticking out, because the top of the pumpkin's not very level, so it's kind of hard to have my cage foam sit very perfectly on it. And I picked a pumpkin that had no stem. If you get lucky, sometimes you'll find one where the stem's totally broken off. If not, you're going to have to cut that off. It's pretty hard to cut off a pumpkin stem really close to the pumpkin. So kind of look for one that kind of has the has the stem broken off. Or you can use a serrated knife and just kind of saw it off. I like these little Gerberas. Interesting, right? They've got the dark reddish salmon center and the peachy orange outside. Okay, just keep turning so you can see the progress of our arrangement. They also included some yellow solidago. Kind of interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's okay. It's before it blooms, it's green, and then when it blooms, it'll have yellow blooms, almost like a wheat stalk or something like that. Kind of feathery looking. I think it will be a pretty texture in here and fill in nicely. Oh, I like that. Okay. So you never know what you get with a mixed bouquet. quite a mixed bouquet snob. I usually don't like them because often the mix is terrible. The colors are, you know, really egregious. But this one I thought was pretty nice, and it saves me money from buying, you know, a bunch of each element. Like we just need a little bit of each thing, maybe 2 or 3 stems of solidago, and I don't need to go and buy a whole bunch of it, right? Because we're just doing one arrangement. I'm adding some seeded eucalyptus. That's one reason I chose this bunch, because it came with a lot of this pretty seeded eucalyptus that I thought would be nice, kind of cascading down our pumpkin. Okay. And I've got some of the larger leaves of the viburnum. I'm kind of putting them at the base, like right here. So you see how it transitions nicely. The pumpkin it hides that transition between the little foam shape and the pumpkin itself. Now you're putting something on top of a pumpkin, you want it to look integrated and not just like you just stuck an arrangement on top of a pumpkin. Although that's kind of what you're doing, right? That's why I wanted the cascading elements. But if you did all the same material cascading around it, it'd be really boring and it would look like kind of a helmet or a hat. So this is why we've got the rose hips here, cascading eucalyptus here, and the viburnum here, kind of grouping, so it's much more sophisticated. Design is very subjective. The more the more I'm designing, the more I like these more asymmetrical and natural looking arrangements. When I was a new designer in the 90s, in the early 90s, I liked everything, you know, really, really clustered and full, not a leaf in sight. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I am a gardener, you know. When you're a gardener, you see nature and natural materials really differently. You really appreciate it on a different level. So all the different textures and growth patterns, the sinewy lines, all that kind of speaks to me. When I was doing weddings, you know, for a good 10 years, I think, you know, from the mid-90s to the mid-2000s, it was just roundy moundies. Everybody wanted tons of roses, hydrangeas, you know, no foliage, no branches, everything really round and lush and full. Okay, that's what we have so far. I think we're almost done. I think it looks nice, and we still have some flowers left over and greenery that we can maybe do a small arrangement somewhere. Came with these orange flowers. They are not very fresh looking, but I think this might be a fun little texture to add in here. I'll pick a few stems that still look kind of fresh and add it in here. Okay. That's another thing you'll find with some of these mixed arrangements. It's not every stem is like super good condition. See how these are all like kind of crunchy? The leaves are dried. Okay. Do I even want that there? Maybe cut it a little shorter. I think it's competing with the solidago a little bit. Maybe just set it a little deeper. I just kind of like that pop of lighter orange in here. Maybe I'll sink it a little deeper in the foam so that you just see it pop of color. And I like that little fuzzy texture. You know, I noticed that if you just pick the flowers, the little orange parts off of this, you also get an interesting little texture here, almost like a little artichoke. You could do that with sunflowers. If sunflowers are spent, you could pull all the petals off, and then you've got just the center with like a circle of little green sepals, and it's a different look. It almost looks like a green sunflower with a black center. It's kind of interesting. Try it next time. Just get some sunflower. Once it gets really old and the petals start shriveling. Say I added this little green artichoke looking thing here between the roses. I think that's kind of cute. Just textures, right? Interesting textures. Okay. Shall we do another stem of the solidago? We've got one here, one there. Do we need another somewhere? Maybe, because I don't want it to look like we've got two sticking up like horns, right? So maybe add a third. But I did add them on kind of different planes. So when you have things that have a line like this or two, very round looking flowers, don't put them right next to each other. If you do this, is what we in flower design call eyeballing. You don't want to do that, okay? So you want to cluster 3 of them together, or kind of, different areas of the arrangement. And same with something like the solidago. If I do one here, they look like horns, right? Unless you want that look. I don't. So we want to make sure they're on different planes. I have one here, one coming out this way, so they're not like horns. So I added the solidago here, just kind of cascade. I think we're mostly done. Just looking to make sure we've covered our foam. And sort of asymmetrical, we have kind of a big cascade here of the fall foliage, a more delicate spray of the rose hips here, some of the seeded eucalyptus. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit of greenery over on this side, just a touch. Kind of under the rose hips, just to make this side more equal in visual weight to the other side. Okay, we're just about done. Just putting the finishing touches, make sure got everything covered. We're not seeing any of the cage foam. Okay, we're done with our asymmetrical pumpkin arrangement on top of this fun, misshapen, imperfect fairy tale pumpkin. You see how you can get a pretty large arrangement in a very small mechanic? And this will be a beautiful centerpiece for your Thanksgiving table or for whatever fall gathering you have. Moving on to our next project, we're going to create some succulent pumpkins. So our next project, we're going to make succulent pumpkins. We did this for my garden club as a fundraiser last year. And so I picked up these 2 smaller pumpkins, also at Trader Joe's. This is like the tiger stripe one. They have a lot of different tiger stripe ones. And I don't know, it's maybe $1.25 each. And this is a small fairy tale pumpkin in this kind of fun butternut squash color. I think this is like $3. So very inexpensive. And what we're going to do is hot glue succulents on top with lots of little things that I collected. You do these flower projects and you get little leftover flowers, a little sprig of fall foliage here and there, pampas grass, I'm going to see what speaks to me, but the main decor on here will be these succulents. Now, I don't know if you grow succulents in your garden, but I grow some. My neighbor has a cactus garden, so it's all succulents, and people stop to take photos and video of his garden because it's really striking. It's an all desert garden. Now, we had a severe drought in California a couple of years ago, and so a lot of people tore out their front yards and put in, drought tolerant landscaping. Anyway, so I have some succulents here from my garden, and a lot of it he gave me, my neighbor. He would be trimming his succulents and he'd give me, the cuttings, and then I would just plant them. And so now I have a pretty good succulent garden. I just picked a bunch that I thought would be pretty together, and we're just going to glue it on here. And we're going to cut it pretty close to the the base of your succulent, and you're just going to hot glue it. It's really fun. We sat around, making these last year for a fundraiser. And that's the first time I've made succulent pumpkins. They're not going to last forever, but it'll last quite a while because your succulents will stay succulent, right? And looking pretty nice for quite a while. So I've got two kind of large succulents I'm going to put on here. Then I have a couple of smaller ones. And it depends on where you want to place it. You might want to cut the stem more or less. I didn't cut the stem on this one so much because it just kind of fit right next to our other pumpkin, our other succulent, not pumpkin. So many pumpkins, getting confused. So that's what we have. We kind of created a base with the succulents already. I'm going to move this pumpkin out of the way for now so we can concentrate on this one. Okay, so that's what I have right now, a base of the succulents. And, you know, we added things like acorns and cones and these eucalyptus pods. So it's all kind of really cute. It's like constructing textures and layers of kind of natural fun material. So I thought, hey, this natural color pampas grass might be really fun in here, right? I have this from my pampas grass video that I did a couple years ago. Pampas grass was a big trend in weddings for a while. I don't know if still is, but it was very big for a couple years there. So we all had to learn how to process pampas grass. I like this kind of oatmeal heather, natural colored pampas grass. I think it's very pretty. So I'm just going to add a plume here. I want it kind of sticking out, but not too much, kind of off to the side, like a little folly. I'm just cutting it into, you know, smaller pieces. Oops, this one kind of fell apart. Well, you know what? I could just glue it together. Well, this might be kind of fun on here too. I think this might be, I don't know, too far down? Can't tell. Maybe we do another sprig somewhere else. I don't have a plan. I'm just playing. And it's kind of fun, right? You just kind of do what you think looks cute. And if it doesn't work, you can just always pull it out. I think this sprig is not what I like, so I'm going to just pull this out and maybe reposition it somewhere else. I think this sticking up is what's bothering me, so I'm going to pull it down. Okay. And I have some little branches here. This is called tiger wood, not to be confused with the golfer Tiger Woods. It's a pretty little branch, and we use it sometimes. I like to use it with mini orchids because it's got these fun little dark spots on them. I thought this might be kind of cute coming out. I think this clump is too big a clump. I'm just going to cut some of it out. This is not sticking. There you go. Add a little glue there. Okay, should we add another little branch here? Asymmetrically? Yeah, that would be really cute. Okay, what else do we need to add to our little pumpkin here? Do we want some acorns on this one? Is it going to show up if we add some here? I don't think the acorn works very well because I'm not sure how to add it in. Maybe little tiny cones. Yeah, maybe I'll add a couple little tiny cones. Or should we use the seeded eucalyptus pods? Or do we add some of the faux foliage? Well, I think I like the foliage. Let's add some of this. This is silk. This is not real foliage because we want it to last. But I thought this was very pretty. I bought a big stem of this from Hobby Lobby last year, and I made some really pretty faux silk door arrangements. And I have some sprigs left over. I like that a little bit of that vibrant fall foliage is pretty nice. Oops, our little branch fell off. Let's see. Gonna put some more. Oh, it's stuck onto something. There we go. Okay. You just want a little touch of this foliage. You don't need a ton of it. I might just cut a little tiny sprig. Okay, we're almost done with this. I mean, you could just keep going, right? And build layers and layers, or you could keep it simple. I don't know. I'm just going to add maybe another leaf right here. Kind of poking out. I have these like berry looking things. What do you think? I don't love them because they look so clumpy, right? I might pick some of the berries off. I don't know. Maybe we don't use this one on this. Okay, let's put that aside. How about we add a few little cones here? That would be really cute. It's really fun. You could get together with friends and you can, bring succulents from everyone's garden. And I have some friends in my garden club who have tons of succulents. You should have seen, we had trays and trays and trays of succulents. I don't have that many. I just started growing them. Not a huge fan of succulents. They're kind of a trend, at least in California, because of our drought. And so a lot of people started buying and planting them, and they became popular in weddings. I just added this cute little clump of cones there. I don't know. I didn't like it in weddings so much because they don't really show up very well. We used to have to do succulent boutonnieres. In the flower market, they actually would sell a tray of rosettes that all are the same size, like 12 of them in a long box, so that you can make boutonnieres all kind of looking the same. I guess the nice thing about that is you didn't have to worry about it not looking fresh for the wedding. But they were very difficult to wire because the stems are short and thick. So it was very hard to wire them. Added some more cones here. I like the little cones. I think they're pretty cute. Got a couple more here. And I don't mind mixing, some faux flowers and faux materials, as you see, with the succulents. Just give it a little vibrancy, a little color. something more interesting. There's all these like threads from the hot glue. Guess we don't really need anything here, huh? Okay, I think I'm going to stop. We're done with our first little succulent pumpkin with these branches. I think it's kind of fun, right, and natural looking. I'm going to turn it so you can see it. And we're going to go ahead and go do the second succulent pumpkin. I love these little tiger stripe pumpkins, really cute. So I have this stem of succulents here, like a cluster. Just cut them and glue them. What I learned when I was making these succulent pumpkins last year is sometimes you can just, do a lot of glue in that little reservoir between the stem of your pumpkin and the pumpkin itself. There's like a little depression, and you could just put that there. Put a lot of glue there, and you can start adding things in. I'm going to add some of these faux mini sunflowers in here because I think that pop of yellow is really cute with our tiger stripe pumpkin. All right, add another one on this side. Kind of cute. And maybe some foliage. So you can buy an assortment of mini pumpkins and do this with friends. It'd be really fun, right? I don't think I like that one. Shall we do some little acorns? Maybe. I'm trying to think, how do we add these acorns? This way or this way? Maybe that way. We're surrounded by oak trees in my garden, so we have a lot of acorns, and the squirrels sure are busy right now. Added a little cluster of acorns here, kind of cute. Don't think I'll do the pampas grass on this one. I want this one to look a little different. I might just add some more of these little leaves. I'm just going to pull off the leaves. So don't throw away the little flowers and stuff that are left over from different projects. Even if they're mini little things like this, you can always use them. You never know, right? This would be a fun project to do with your children. If you have children who would sit still and do this. I have a boy, well, he's grown now, but I don't think he would have been into this. If you have girls, maybe. Or artistically inclined boys. Okay, a little cone there, kind of cute. Okay, what else can we add to this? Do we want to add anything? Maybe not. I think this is pretty good because it's pretty big already for the size of our little pumpkin. So we're all done with our little succulent pumpkins. They're cute and easy to do, and They could be a charming little centerpiece. You can do multiples of these down a long table, and that would give you a long-lasting centerpiece for Thanksgiving or any fall entertaining. Here's our little tiger stripe pumpkin with the faux sunflowers as well as the natural succulents. And here's our fairy tale pumpkin with pampas grass, succulents, and tiger wood. Really cute. Boy, that was a lot of work, but it was fun, right? We made these two cute succulent pumpkins in this spectacular large pumpkin arrangement. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something today. For those of you who are new to my channel, please like and subscribe and click the little bell to be notified when I put out a new video. And for those of you who join me every week, thank you as always. Leave me a comment to let me know what you're doing this week and how you're decorating for fall. I've opened up the community section of my channel, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are doing to decorate your front porch and your home. So until next time, go out and buy some pumpkins and play. And I will see you in my next video.